Being too nice is not making you a good person. It's making you vulnerable. And here's the worst part. Most people who suffer from being too nice never realize that their kindness is actually the problem. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the 8 psychological consequences that destroy people who are excessively nice. And more importantly, I'll reveal the specific psychological pattern that's been sabotaging your relationships, your self-worth, and your mental health without you even knowing it. If you've ever felt taken for granted, emotionally exhausted, or invisible despite always being there for everyone, this isn't about you being weak. This is about something psychologists call maladaptive kindness. It's not empathy. It's not real goodness. It's a psychological pattern that makes you give in, a day quiet, and people please, even when it's destroying you from the inside. Stay with me because what I'm about to share will completely change how you see yourself and your relationships. Let's start with the first 4 consequences that you need to understand right now. Consequence. Number 1, people start losing respect for you even though they'll never tell you. Social psychology is clear on something uncomfortable. People don't respect those who always adapt. When you're too nice, you don't set boundaries, you don't express discomfort, you don't correct small disrespects. And the human brain interprets that in only one way. I can do this without consequences. It doesn't happen suddenly. It happens slowly. First they interrupt you, then they decide for you, then they take you for granted. And you justify it by thinking, it's fine, I don't want problems, that's just who I am. But respect isn't lost by being aggressive. It's lost by not defending your psychological space. Every time you let something slide, you're training people to see you as someone whose boundaries don't matter. Consequence number 2. You become everyone's emotional. Container people who are too nice usually become the one who always listens, the one who always helps, the one who's always available, but rarely the one who receives support, the one who's taken care of, the one who's a priority. Psychologically, this creates emotional asymmetry. You give much more than you receive. Over time, you absorb problems that aren't yours, carry guilt that belongs to others, normalize emotional exhaustion. And the most dangerous part, you start believing your value lies in what you give, not in who you are. Think about it. When was the last time someone asked how you were doing and really meant it? When was the last time someone made space for your feelings without you having to minimize them first? Consequence. Number 3. You repress emotions until they turn into anxiety or resentment. Being too nice doesn't eliminate negative emotions, it just postpones them. You stay quiet when something bothers you. You smile when you're uncomfortable. You accept when you wanted to say no. And what does the brain do with that? It accumulates it. What you don't express transforms into anxiety. It filters through as irritability. It appears as chronic fatigue. Or it explodes as silent resentment. Many internal conflicts aren't born from trauma. They're born from legitimate emotions that were never expressed. Your body keeps the score. Every swallowed word, every fake smile, every time you said yes when you meant no. It all gets stored somewhere, and eventually it comes out, whether you want it to or not. Consequence number 4. You lose your identity without realizing it. When you're too nice, something happens that you don't notice immediately. Your identity starts to dilute. It doesn't disappear suddenly. It fades slowly. You start choosing words that don't fully represent you, opinions that aren't really yours, decisions you make just to avoid making others uncomfortable. Psychologically, this happens because your brain learns to prioritize one thing above all else: external approval as a safety mechanism. Every time you adapt your personality to fit in, you reinforce the idea that being yourself is risky. You train your mind to hide what it really thinks. You condition your identity to other people's reactions. Over time, you no longer know if you genuinely like something or if you just accepted it to avoid friction. And then a feeling appears that's hard to explain. Emptiness, disconnection, a silent discomfort with yourself. Not because you don't have an identity, but because you've spent so much time giving away psychological space that you forgot to occupy your own. Before I reveal the next 4 consequences, including the one that explains why you keep attracting the wrong people into your life, I need you to do something. If this video is resonating with you, if you're starting to see patterns you hadn't noticed before, hit that like button right now. It tells me this content is helping you and it helps more people who need to hear this find it. And subscribe to the channel because we dive deep into the psychology that's not always comfortable, but absolutely necessary. We don't do surface level advice here. We get into the real patterns that shape your life. Drop a comment and let me know which of these consequences hit hardest for you. I read every single comment and your perspective matters. Now let's get into the part that nobody wants to admit. Here's where it gets even more disturbing, because these next 4 consequences explain why being too nice doesn't just hurt you. It actually changes who shows up in your life. Consequence number 5, you attract selfish or manipulative people. Let me clarify something important. You don't attract manipulative people because you're naive. You attract them because your emotional pattern is easy to read. Selfish people don't look for the weak. They look for the predictable. They quickly detect someone who feels guilty saying no, minimizes their own needs, confuses understanding with self-abandonment, and then a very subtle process begins. First come the reasonable requests, then the urgent ones, then the constant ones. Every time you give in, you reinforce an idea in the other person. I can push a little more. And when you finally try to set a boundary, the reaction isn't respect, it's surprise, guilt, and emotional manipulation. Because psychologically, you broke the role they assigned to you. Here's the pattern. Manipulative people don't respect boundaries. They test them. And if you're someone who's too nice, you fail that test every single time. Because you've been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries makes you a bad person. Consequence number 6, you confuse peace with avoidance. Many overly nice people say, I don't argue, I prefer tranquility, I don't like conflict. But psychology makes a clear distinction. Avoiding conflict is not the same as having peace. Avoidance is born from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of being seen as bad. Every uncomfortable conversation you avoid doesn't disappear. It stays inside, and the body remembers it. Constant tension, ruminating thoughts, the feeling of always holding back. True psychological peace doesn't come from staying quiet. It comes from knowing you can express discomfort without losing your value or emotional stability. When you confuse peace with avoidance, you become calm on the outside, but chaotic on the inside. That's not peace. That's suppression. And suppression always has consequences. Consequence number 7, your self-esteem depends on external approval. This is one of the most dangerous consequences because it doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like sensitivity. When you're too nice, your brain learns this invisible rule. My value depends on how others react. If someone smiles, you feel enough. If someone gets upset, you doubt yourself. If someone criticizes you, you crumble. Psychologically, this is called conditional self-esteem. You don't validate yourself for who you are, but for how much you please others, how much you help, and how much you give in. The problem, you can never control other people's perceptions. There will always be someone dissatisfied. There will always be someone who asks for more, and living like this means living in constant alert. Healthy self-esteem doesn't seek to please. It holds steady even when someone is uncomfortable with you. It knows that being liked by everyone is impossible, and more importantly, it's not the goal. Consequence number 8, you become emotionally invisible. This is the hardest one. When you're always available, when you never complain, when you always understand, people stop asking how you are, not because they don't care about you, but because you taught them that you can handle everything. And nobody takes care of what seems unbreakable. You become the strong one, the reliable one, the one who has it together. And, slowly, your own emotional needs become invisible. Even to you, you start believing that having needs is a burden, that expressing pain is dramatic, that asking for support is weak, and so you shrink yourself smaller and smaller until there's almost nothing left of you that feels real. Here's what you need to understand. Being kind is not the problem. The problem is being kind at the cost of yourself. If you want to break this pattern, start with something simple and uncomfortable. Say no without justifying yourself. Express a small discomfort. Tolerate the discomfort of not being liked. Healthy kindness includes boundaries. It includes making others uncomfortable sometimes. It includes choosing yourself. You are not responsible for managing everyone else's emotions. You are not a bad person for having needs. You are not selfish for protecting your peace. And you are not difficult for expecting reciprocity in your relationships. The people who truly value you won't disappear when you start having boundaries. The right people will respect you more, and the wrong people, they'll reveal themselves. And that's not a loss, that's clarity. Start small. This week, practice one thing. Say no to something without over-explaining. Notice how it feels. Notice who respects it and who pushes back. That will tell you everything you need to know. If this video opened your eyes to patterns you've been living with for years, do two things for me. First, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we explore the psychology that actually changes lives, not just the comfortable stuff everyone else talks about. Second, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's always there for everyone else, but never for themselves. Sometimes people need permission to change, and this might be that permission. Drop a comment and tell me, what's one boundary you're going to set this week? I'll be reading them and I'll be rooting for you. Remember, your kindness is valuable, but so are you. Don't sacrifice one for the other. I'll see you in the next video.